Hey guys, Morten Aastad here with another video. I bought a couple of records today using some gift cards because I sort of needed it and as a cheer me up. And I'm now going to show you a record that I thought I was going to buy last week, but it didn't show up. The other record this band reissued did show up. And I'm wondering, was that on purpose? So in 1993, you'd be forgiven to think that Duran Duran was a spent force. You know, they climbed the charts and they were huge, and their three first albums, four if you count Arena, were huge sellers. They sold platinum, they toured around the world, and everything was just looking like it was so amazing. And then they did a momentum killer, you know, after the James Bond song and everything. They took a break. And that break was so that they could concentrate on some other musical interest. So John and Andy Taylor, they of course recorded some rock with Power Station. And the other three members, Simon and Nick and Roger Taylor, they recorded a project called Arcadia, which I, adore. But when they then got back together, they were, reduced in numbers because Andy left, and Roger, he basically retired because he couldn't take it anymore, and Andy, I suppose, he wanted to keep power stationing, I suppose. And Notorious sold quite well, but the next couple of albums, not so much. So when this album was released, their previous album had sold to silver in the UK and nothing much else in other countries. What do? Well, you call your album after, Duran Duran, and release this thing. Now, of course, we call it the wedding album for, obvious reasons. And it did really well. So good, in fact, that they sold platinum again in the UK with this. And what was the reason for this certain resurgence? Well, they were very unfocused, they said, on the previous album. But one member of the band, who was not one of the original members, Warren Cucurello, he was hungry. He wanted success. He hadn't joined this band, to just be playing little bars or whatever. So he was quite heavily involved in the recording and writing of this thing, and apparently it worked, and momentum killed and resurgence and everything, and the world was their oyster and everything. So let's.
Human
So let's have a look at this, shall we? My Duran Duran collection consists of, their big albums on vinyl from back in the day, and I have Notorious on vinyl, which is a relatively late acquire. I think I acquired it about 4 years ago. Next one, Big Time? I only have on a secondhand CD. Never got that. And the record after that, I don't even remember what it's called. So this one I've had on CD since it came out in 1993, and I've always been very fond of it. And I think it's great that it now has gotten a reissue. And I remember I listened to this a lot. Hey, it's even embossed, the Duran Duran there. There's only one version, black vinyl of this, which is fine. There's the inner sleeve. And I think this is a really fine album. Great, listen to this. And it's got it's got 2 discs. And I would assume that's because of the length of CDs back then. Just a quick look at the hype sticker. If there was any. No, there wasn't any. So what happened after this? Well, the record that I talked about, which came out last week, when there should have been 2 records coming out last week, at least here, was called Thank You. And they killed their own momentum with that one. It did sell to gold, but I remember hearing that a lot of people returned the record, and the critics slaughtered them. I mean, the critics wasn't nice to them over this record either, but what was the problem then with Thank You? Well, Thank You was a cover album, and they covered some odd artists. And I remember I was so disappointed with the damn thing that I don't have it anymore, my CD of that, because I found out years later that I had kind of mistreated it. So I got rid of it. So my thought was, people remember the wedding album as being great, and they remember the disappointment. And then you're releasing these 2 albums on the same day. How do you make sure people buy Thank You? Well, because I heard people in the States say this, and I have heard people in Europe say this, I was going to go and buy the wedding album, and they only had Thank You in the store. miraculously, 3 or 4 days later, the wedding album shows up. Were they thinking, well, maybe people will grab a thank you, just not leave the store empty-handed? I know, that's very cynical. So thank you sold to gold in the UK, nothing else anywhere else, dropped out of the charts very quickly. And their follow-up album to this, which again was another 2 years, Momentum, completely out of the window, it did not chart in the UK. So, a couple of more albums, and we get a reunion of the original band, and I guess they're kind of doing quite well now, but battling with health issues and so on. But it's a strange story and kind of a little bit of a sad one. But the wedding album, great album, and I now have it. So you have any comments about this? Do you remember, being 1993 and you getting these, or 1995 and getting thank you? And please click like. And if you want to subscribe, that makes me happy. Hello to my new subscribers of late. Glad to have you on board. And I hope to see you guys soon in another video. Take care. Bye-bye.